This $100 system, built from hardware store materials, can heat your water, your home, your workshop, using nothing but curved mirrors and sunlight. And it is called a parabolic solar trough. It captures more than 70% of the sunlight that hits it and stores it directly as heat, while a standard rooftop solar panel only converts about 20%. 354 megawatts of these troughs powered 500,000 homes in the California Mojave Desert for 3 decades as a fully commercial grid system. Yet almost no American homeowner has ever been told this technology exists. By the end of this video, you can build a $100 system that makes your solar heating 70% cheaper in a single weekend, with no electrician and no specialized tools. You'll know the 5 parts you need, what each one costs, where to source them, and exactly how this device turns free sunlight into stored heat that runs your hot water from April through October. You'll know why the $20,000 rooftop solar system that half of America just financed is the most expensive way to heat water ever invented. And then, I'm going to show you why the federal solar incentive structure was written to exclude this technology, not by accident, but by design. But first, you need to see what your solar panels are actually wasting. Because once you understand the physics, you're going to be furious at every installer who ever pointed a silicon panel at your water heater. Here is the problem with photovoltaic solar panels. Because they convert sunlight into electricity, and that sounds efficient until you realize that most of the energy in sunlight is not light at all, but heat. A silicon solar cell can only absorb photons within a narrow band of the solar spectrum, and everything above that band gets wasted as excess heat on the panel surface, while everything below it passes straight through. In 1961, 2 physicists named William Shockley and Hans Joachim Queisser calculated the theoretical maximum efficiency of a single-junction silicon solar cell, and that ceiling is 33%. Under real-world conditions, commercial panels deliver about 20 to 24%, which means for every 100 watts of sunlight hitting your roof, roughly 76 to 80 watts are thrown away as waste. If you were using that electricity to power lights or a laptop, that trade-off might be acceptable. But if you were heating water, the waste is staggering. You were taking sunlight, converting 20% of it into electricity, losing another 5 to 10% through the inverter, then feeding that electricity into a resistance heater that turns it back into heat. You are converting heat into electricity, then back into heat again, and at every single step, you lose energy. But the parabolic solar trough skips all of that entirely. A parabolic trough works by using a curved reflective surface, shaped like a half-pipe, to focus sunlight onto a single narrow line at the center, called the focal point. The physics behind it is the law of reflection applied to a parabolic curve, where every ray of light that hits the curved mirror surface bounces inward toward the same focal line, no matter where on the curve it strikes. The result is concentrated sunlight, and a trough just 4 feet wide can focus the equivalent energy of 30 to 60 suns onto a single copper pipe at its center. That pipe is the absorber, and in a homeowner build, it is typically a 1/2-inch copper pipe coated in flat black high-temperature paint that absorbs the concentrated energy directly. Some builders slip the copper pipe inside a glass evacuated tube to cut convection losses, which is the same principle as a thermos flask, where a vacuum between the pipe and the glass eliminates air movement, so the heat stays where you want it. The concentrated sunlight heats the fluid inside the pipe, whether that is water, oil, or a glycol mixture, and temperatures above 200 degrees Fahrenheit are easily achievable with a well-built trough. Some documented systems have pushed past 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and at that temperature range, you can heat domestic hot water, run a radiant floor heating loop, charge a thermal storage tank that keeps your house warm well past dark. This is where the efficiency advantage becomes overwhelming, because a solar thermal collector does not need to convert photons into electrons, and instead absorbs the entire solar spectrum, including infrared, directly as heat. That is, the part the silicon panel throws away. And the thermal efficiency of a parabolic trough system, measured as the ratio of absorbed heat to incoming solar energy, routinely falls between 60 and 80%. That is 3 to 4 times the usable energy output of a photovoltaic panel for every heating application in your home. The storage problem that plagues solar electricity disappears entirely because you do not need a $15,000 lithium battery bank, but instead an insulated tank of hot water, a drum of sand, a container of salt. Thermal mass stores heat for hours or days at nearly zero cost, and the Solana generating station in Arizona proves this at scale by storing heat in 125,000 metric tons of molten salt at 530 degrees Fahrenheit. That storage system operates at roughly 70% round-trip efficiency and delivers power for 6 full hours after sunset without a single battery. If you're thinking this sounds too good to be true, the physics has been proven at scale for over a century, and the principle itself is far older than that. In 212 BC, the Roman Empire laid siege to the Greek city of Syracuse, and the mathematician Archimedes is said to have used an array of polished bronze mirrors to concentrate sunlight onto the Roman fleet and burn it. Whether the legend is literally true is debated, but the physics is not, because in 1973, a Greek engineer named Ioannis Sakis tested that same physics at a naval base outside Athens. He lined up 70 flat copper-coated mirrors, aimed them at a plywood ship coated in tar paint at a distance of 160 feet, and the ship burst into flames within seconds. The first person to turn that destructive power into useful work was an American inventor from Philadelphia named Frank Schumann, who in 1913 built the world's first solar thermal power station at Mahdi, Egypt, just south of Cairo. He used 5 parabolic trough reflectors, each 60 meters long, lined with glass mirrors. And on a clear day in June of 1913, those troughs concentrated sunlight onto cast iron boilers and generated steam. That steam pumped 22,000 liters of water per minute from the Nile River to irrigate cotton fields, and the system powered a 75-horsepower engine running on nothing but sunlight. Lord Kitchener himself attended the demonstration and offered Schumann 30,000 acres of land to build a larger plant, while the German government awarded him $200,000 in Deutschmarks to build a solar irrigation system in Africa. Then World War I broke out. Then cheap oil was discovered in the Middle East, and Schumann's solar thermal revolution was buried before it started, and he died in 1918. His vision was not revisited at commercial scale until the 1980s, more than 60 years later, when 9 parabolic trough power plants, called the Solar Energy Generating Systems, were built near Kramer Junction in the California Mojave Desert. Their combined capacity was 354 megawatts, generating enough electricity for roughly 500,000 people. With synthetic oil circulating through the trough receivers at temperatures of 735 degrees Fahrenheit. For 15 years, these were the largest solar plants on Earth, and they are still operating today. Then, in 2013, the Solana generating station near Gila Bend, Arizona, went online with 280 megawatts, 3,200 parabolic trough collectors, 900,000 mirrors. It delivered something no photovoltaic plant on Earth could match, which was 6 hours of full-capacity electricity production after the sun went down, powered entirely by heat stored in molten salt, with no battery needed. This technology powered a 354-megawatt grid system for 3 decades and stores energy for 6 hours past sunset without a single battery. So why isn't it on your roof? The answer is structural, not technical, because the American solar incentive system was built around one metric, which is electricity generation, measured in kilowatt hours fed back to the grid. The federal solar investment tax credit under Section 25D of the tax code covered photovoltaic panels and solar water heaters, but did not cover a standalone parabolic trough used for space heating, process heat, or thermal storage. Even though solar water heaters qualified on paper, the 30% credit applied to certified commercially installed systems, not to $100 worth of plywood, aluminum, copper pipe assembled in your backyard. There is no certification pathway for a home-built solar trough, no installer network, no financing model, no appraiser who knows how to value it, no mortgage lender who will factor it into your home's energy rating. The International Residential Code does not reference parabolic concentrators in its solar provisions, And ASHRAE, the engineering standard that governs heating and cooling in American buildings, assumes mechanical inputs like compressors, refrigerants, pumps. A curved mirror that turns sunlight into hot water without a single moving part does not fit into any of these frameworks. Not because it doesn't work, but because the system was never designed to recognize it. We are told that an active system with inverters, battery management software, grid interconnection agreements is the modern solution, and that a curved mirror heating a pipe is primitive. But the mirror converts 70% of the sunlight it touches into usable energy, while the panel converts 20%. And the mirror stores heat in a tank of water for less than $1, while the panel requires a lithium battery that costs $15,000. The primitive solution is the one losing 80% of the energy it collects and storing the rest in a chemistry that degrades 5% per year. Here is what you need to build one, starting with a 4-foot by 8-foot sheet of exterior plywood for the frame, which runs about $25. Then, a sheet of polished aluminum or reflective mylar film for the parabolic surface, costing between $15 and $25 depending on size. Then, a 5-foot length of 1/2-inch copper pipe for the absorber at about $15, and black high-temperature spray paint rated to at least 500 degrees for around $8. Then, closed-cell foam insulation for the absorber housing at about $10, plus basic hardware including wood screws, brackets, angle aluminum for ribs, silicone sealant for about $15. The total bill of materials sits between $80 and $100 at current US retail prices, and you do not need a welder or an electrician, just a drill, a jigsaw, a tape measure, a weekend. The parabolic curve is drawn using a simple string and stake method, described in George Plack's manual called Solar Parabolic Trough Concentrator, which is available directly from his site. Plack is a Canadian engineer who built and documented a fully tracking residential parabolic trough from workshop materials and published complete test results showing water outlet temperatures exceeding 150 degrees Celsius on clear days. Over 600 builders have purchased his plans, and the build does not require welding, soldering, or any electrical work whatsoever, because if you can cut plywood and bend a piece of aluminum, you can build a working solar trough. 2 honest limitations to know about before you start building. First, a parabolic trough only works with direct sunlight and does not collect diffuse light on cloudy days the way a flat plate collector does, which means in the Pacific Northwest or northern latitudes with heavy overcast, your output drops significantly in winter. Second, heat is not electricity, and a parabolic trough heats water and air, but does not charge your phone or run your refrigerator. So if you need electrons, you still need a panel. But the Department of Energy says 30 to 40% of the average American home's energy goes to heating water, and a trough that does that job at 70% efficiency for $100 is replacing a system that costs thousands. The parabolic solar trough is a 2,000-year-old principle, validated at industrial scale for 4 decades and proven at backyard scale by independent builders around the world. It is more efficient at converting sunlight to heat than anything silicon has ever produced, and the incentive structure made sure you never found out about it. A lot of what this channel covers sits outside the mainstream, not because it stopped working, but because the system was built to reward complexity over simplicity. If discovering the lost science of energy independence matters to you, then subscribing and sharing is the simplest way to make sure this kind of knowledge keeps being found. If you had the roof space and the budget for one system, would you build a parabolic trough for heat or stick with photovoltaic panels for electricity? So, drop your answer in the comments, because I genuinely want to know which way you would go.